The January 10th, 2017 meeting of the Monroe County Legislature will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Ansello? Here. Mr. Broth? Here. Ms. Boyce? Here. Mr. Brew? Here. Mrs. Brown? Here. Dr. Cardone? Here. Mrs. Conley? Here. President Daniele?
Here.
Mr. Delahanty?
Here.
Mrs. DeFlorio? Here. Mrs. Draws excused. Mr. Felder?
Here.
Mr. Flagler Mitchell? Okay. Ms. Harris? Here. Mr. Hebert? Here. Mr. Howland? Here. Ms. Cayley? Here. Mr. Lightfoot? Here. Mr. Marionetti?
Here.
Mr. Michikay? Mr. Morelli? Here. Mr. Moyo? Here. Mr. Rocco? Here. Mr. Shepard?
Here.
Ms. Taylor? Here. Mr. Terp? Here. Mr. Wilcox? Here. Mr. Zal? Here. Mr. Flagler Mitchell?
Here.
Thank you. Please remain seated. I'd like to introduce Pastor David Boehm of the Northridge Church, who has been invited this evening by Legislator Sean Delahanty.
Thank you, President Daniele, and the rest of the legislators. It's a humble privilege to lead in prayer this evening. And on behalf of the rest of our staff at Northridge Church in the city of Rochester and our congregation, I want to thank all of you for your dedication, for your hard work, and for what you do on behalf of all of us in Monroe County. So thank you tonight from the bottom of my heart for everything that you do. Paul wrote to a young pastor a couple thousand years ago, the Apostle Paul to Timothy, and he said these words: I urge then, first of all, that petitions, prayers, intercession, and thanksgiving be made for all people, for kings, for leaders, for those in authority, that we may live peaceful and quiet lives in all godliness and holiness. This is good and pleases God. And with those words, I'd like to open this meeting in a word of prayer. Shall we bow? God, thank you for reminding us of the calling you've given in our lives, for each one here, for the service that they give, for the leadership they provide. I want to pause tonight and thank you, God, for the abilities, the gifts, the talents in this room, and what is accomplished here on a weekly and a monthly basis. We give you thanks this evening. And so I pray, too, God, that you would continue to encourage each one. Might this group of individuals be known as people of integrity. Might they lead well. Might they serve well. Might you continue to accomplish your will through the leadership in this county. And God, we give you thanks. And I think also of the need for wisdom, especially in these days. And the words of James, near the end of the Bible, it is mentioned that we are to, when we lack wisdom, we're to ask of you, and you promise, God, to give generously wisdom. So I would pray that even tonight in this meeting, you might provide wisdom. And God, again, we give you thanks for the blessings in our lives. I thank you again for each one here. Pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you.
Pastor. On behalf of the legislature, thank you for coming out tonight. Thank you very much. My pleasure. Wonderful, wonderful night. Happy New Year. Legislator Joe Cardone will now lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Legislator Cardone.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I ask that you remain standing. Without objection, we will take agenda item number 8 out of regular agenda order. Agenda item number 8 is moved by Legislator Marionetti and seconded by Legislator Cayley. Will the clerk please read the resolution in memoriam for Jim Breeze, former town supervisor of Henrietta?
In memoriam, expressing regret of the Monroe County Legislature on the recent passing of former Henrietta Town Supervisor Jim Breeze. Be it resolved that the Monroe County Legislature hereby expresses its deep sympathy at the recent passing of former Henrietta Town Supervisor Jim Breeze. And whereas Jim Breeze passed away January 4th, 2017, and whereas Jim began his political career with his election to the Rush Henrietta Central School District Board of Education, shortly after he was elected to the Monroe County Legislature. And whereas Jim was elected to the Henrietta Town Board in 1979 and Town Supervisor in 1985. He was the longest-serving town supervisor in the town of Henrietta's history, serving the town for 22 years. He was a strong advocate for the people of Henrietta. Jim was a leader in the community and worked to expand the park system and recreation programming and provided services to senior citizens. And whereas Jim was a caring father and grandfather, he is survived by his children, James, Kenneth, Ann, David, and Maria, his grandchildren, Lindsay, Caitlin, Courtney, Eric, Ellie, Natalia, and Jonathan, his sister, Kathleen Moore, and many nieces and nephews. And whereas Jim will be remembered as an outspoken advocate of the people he served, as well as a kind family man, he will be greatly missed by all who knew him. Be it further resolved that the clerk of the legislature is hereby requested to forward a copy of this resolution to the bereaved family. This resolution was passed unanimously, with each legislator rising in his or her place for a moment of silence.
Please be seated. Legislators, your copy of the Journal of Day 14, December 13, 2016 is available on your tablet. Without exception, the journal stands approved as submitted. This evening, there's a hearing loop in place to assist those who are hearing impaired. Anyone requiring assistance should inquire in the clerk's office.
If you have a cellular phone, pager, or other electronic devices in your possession, I would request that you make it inaudible for the duration of the meeting. Thank you for your cooperation.
Legislators, the referrals submitted to the legislature for the next committee cycle are also available on your tablet. This evening, there are several proclamations scheduled. Madam Clerk.
Would Coach Chris Cardone please come forward? Also, Monroe County Executive Cheryl D'Onofo, President Anthony J. Daniele, and Legislator Joe Carbone. Whereas a role model is one whose behavior, example, or success can be emulated by others. Monroe County is proud to say that this is home to many great role models. Coach Chris Cardone of the Irondequoit Eagles exemplifies what it means to be a role model. And whereas Coach Cardone recently won his 400th game as coach of the varsity boys basketball team at Irondequoit High School, this is an amazing accomplishment as he joins the ranks of just 12 other coaches to reach this accolade in Section 5. Coaching basketball isn't just about winning or losing, it's about teaching valuable life lessons as well. It is for this reason that Coach Cardone is an outstanding role model, not only for his athletes, but also his peers in the coaching community. And whereas Monroe County is lucky to have such great role models for student athletes, we are not only celebrating Coach Cardone's 400 career victories, but also the amount of athletes he has influenced to go and follow in his footsteps of success. Monroe County would like to wish Coach Chris Cardone and his Irondequoit Eagles luck for the remainder of the 2016-2017 season and the rest of his career. Now therefore, we, County Executive Cheryl D'Onofo, County Legislature President Anthony J. Daniele, and Vice President Dr. Joe Cardone, on behalf of the entire Monroe County Legislature, do hereby recognize and congratulate Arundecoit varsity boys basketball coach Chris Cardone.
Say a few words. Well, I went to high school with Vincent D'Onofrio, and I taught Adam Bello, so if you need any background checks, let me know. But I'd like to accept this award for the whole town of Arundecoit, West Arundecoit. I've taught 35 years, and this is a recognition I share with the whole town of West Arundecoit, with the administrators, all the coaches that I've worked with for all the years, all the great players, students I've worked with, and all the great parents. When you receive an award like this, it's a recognition of a whole body of people that have worked together, and our team this year typifies all the hard work that the parents, the school district, the community have put in, and we hope that we continue to set a good example whether we win or lose every time we play. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you again.
Would representatives from the Patriot Guard Riders of New York please come forward? Also, President Anthony J. Daniele, Legislator Frank X. Alcoffer, Legislator George J. Hebert, and Legislator Tony Michike. Monroe County is proud to say that it is home to many Patriot Guard Riders of New York. The Patriot Guard Riders of New York will ride their motorcycles throughout this state, escorting memorial services of fallen servicemen, first responders, and honorably discharged veterans. And whereas the Patriot Guard Riders of New York are a nonprofit organization that volunteer themselves to carry out this truly remarkable service. The Patriot Guard Riders of New York ensure dignity and respect are given to families that are mourning the loss of a loved one. The Patriot Guard Riders of New York also run a volunteer outreach program called Help on the Home Front. This program provides support and assistance to disabled veterans who experience a particular hardship or have unmet needs. And whereas these outstanding services performed by the Patriot Guard Riders of New York help make life for some easier. Whether it be a grieving family member or a veteran in need, the Patriot Guard Riders of New York will continue to be there. Monroe County and its veteran community are thankful for the services provided by all members of the Patriot Guard Riders of New York. Now therefore, we, Anthony J. Daniele, President, and Frank X. Alcoffer, Legislator District 4, and George J. Hebert, Legislator District 15, and Tony Michike, Legislator District 26, on behalf of the entire Monroe County Legislature, do hereby recognize and congratulate the Patriot Guard Riders of New York for the service they provide to our military and law enforcement communities.
On behalf of all Patriot Guard Riders across the state and across the nation, we have 50 chapters, one in each state. I'd like to thank the Monroe County Legislature for this award and recognition. And mostly, I'd like to thank the men and women right here who put in a lot of work with our Help on the Home Front. It has grown quite a bit, considerably, helping veterans. They have stood in all kinds of weather, at funerals, to honor and respect. It comes straight from the heart. And to all veterans that are in the legislature today, especially Vietnam veterans, welcome home. Thank you very much.
Would John and Nancy Gilbride please come forward? Also President Anthony J. Daniele and Legislator Sean M. Delahanty. Representatives from the Peppermill restaurant, please come forward. Also President Anthony J. Daniele and Legislator Cynthia Cayley and Legislator Tony Michike. Whereas since December 20th, 1976, the Peppermill restaurant has been an iconic dining establishment in the city of Rochester, a locally owned restaurant that has fed families and workers from throughout Rochester. And whereas the great tradition of the American diner, where citizens from all walks of life can sit down next to each other for a fast and hearty meal and a cup of coffee, has been strongly embodied by the Peppermill, which has continued to bring together people of all different backgrounds and professions. Whereas John and Anna Christanis, who came here from northern Greece to pursue the American dream, worked endless hours to realize their dream. And whereas opened 24 hours until the death of John on December 14th of 2000, leaving son Chris to step up as owner-operator, along with siblings Olga and Dino, who share in the family management as second generation, continuing the dream. And whereas third generation John continues his grandfather's dream by working full-time at the restaurant, honoring his namesake and also his grandmother Anna, who will celebrate her 80th birthday this August. And whereas the outstanding staff, some of whom have been with the restaurant for close to 30 years, are considered family to the Christanises and who uphold the motto, "Let our family serve yours." Now therefore let it be known that we, Anthony J. Daniele, President, and Cynthia W. Cayley, Minority Leader, and Tony Michike, Legislator District 26, on behalf of the entire Monroe County Legislature, do hereby honor the Christanis family on the 40th anniversary of the Peppermill Restaurant, December 20th, 2016, and present them with a copy of this proclamation.
On behalf of the Christanis family, I'd like to thank the county legislator for at least recognizing us for the hard work and determination my parents did have back when they immigrated from Greece in 1955. Simple formula of hard work and determination. I think we still hold that true to the way we run our business. Just hard work, make sure everybody's happy, and treat everybody the way you want to be treated. Just like family. Like our motto says, let our family serve yours. Thank you.
Would Nancy Adams please come forward? Also President Anthony J. Daniele and Legislator Justin Wilcox. Whereas it is the sense of this legislature to honor local individuals and organizations that advocate on behalf of others and add to the quality of life of Monroe County. And whereas, attendant to such concern and in full accord with long-standing tradition, these legislators are justly proud to honor Nancy Adams, the recently retired Executive Director of the Monroe County Medical Society. And whereas Ms. Adams has served the Medical Society for the past 19 years and became its Executive Director in 1999. The Medical Society represents about 1,300 doctors from 7 counties and has a mission to advocate for physicians and patients for the betterment of the medical profession and the health of the community. And whereas Ms. Adams has also served as the director of the American Academy of Pediatrics, New York Chapter 1 organization, which represents pediatricians in 50 of the state's 62 counties, covering the upstate region. And whereas, under the leadership of Ms. Adams, the Medical Society has taken vital roles in regional health initiatives, including the implementation of the Greater Rochester Health Foundation Hypertension Guideline in 45 adult primary care practices, overseeing the creation and implementation of an electronic record service bureau, and working with Finger Lakes Health Systems Agency to secure a $26.6 million federal grant, the largest award of its type to any U.S. applicant. And whereas Ms. Adams has served on various boards across the county, offering her expertise generously to the benefit of the community at large. This hard work and dedication has led to many professional awards and accolades, including the American Medical Association's Medical Executive Lifetime Achievement Award. Now therefore let it be known that we, Anthony J. Daniele, President, and Justin Wilcox, Legislator of District 14, on behalf of the Monroe County Legislature, do hereby honor Nancy Adams and congratulate her on her retirement on this 10th day of January 2017.
Thank you so much. I really consider my job to have been a privilege the past 19 years, as I know everyone in this room does with their own positions. And I want to take this opportunity to thank you for what you do for our community, working with our physicians to help keep our residents safe and healthy. Thank you.
Legislators, there are no formal committee reports scheduled for this evening. We will now hold the public forum. We have several people registered to address the legislature. Madam Clerk.
If you require assistance, a deputy is available to assist you in approaching the lectern. I will call 2 people forward at a time. Each speaker will have 2 minutes in which to address the legislature, and kindly conclude your remarks when the timer sounds and exit through the back of the chambers. Thank you for your cooperation. Our first 2 speakers tonight are Kevin Yost and Sister Grace Miller.
Good evening. Kevin Yost, 1474 Middle Road in the town of Henrietta. I'd like to address 2 issues regarding the county in terms of motor vehicles. First of all, I would like the county legislature to reconsider sometime in the future, perhaps sooner rather than later, having a downtown county DMV office, as the county clerk had sought. It could be in City Place down the street, but any downtown building that's suitable. And secondly, regarding motor vehicles, I would like the county to contribute financially to the town of Irondequoit's study to have a vehicular lift bridge or drawbridge over the Irondequoit Bay outlet, which is on the border of Irondequoit and Webster, and Culver Road on their side of the outlet boundary, and Lake Road on the Webster side of the outlet boundary. 2 county roads, and the former bridge, of course, was a county bridge that was removed in 1985, and this new bridge should be a county bridge as well, a lift bridge or drawbridge for motorized vehicles year-round. Thank you.
Our next 2 speakers are Rita Lewis and John Gear.
John Gear, 1172 Lakeshore Boulevard, Irondequoit, New York. I'm Brooke Stagel's grandfather. She was murdered in November. And I just wanted you all to know that her birthday was last week, along with her aunt, who who's 5 years old. It was the day after, and allegedly the crime happened on her uncle's birthday, and her funeral was on my birthday. So again, my name is John Gear, and as you may know, my granddaughter Brooke Stagels was killed while there was an open CPS case. I am not here tonight to assign blame for that tragedy. Rather, I am here to thank the legislature for acknowledging that more must be done. It's clearly a positive step in the right direction for the president of the legislature to acknowledge publicly that CPS is short-staffed and burdened with excessive caseloads. However, what was absent from the president's public comments was his plan to fully staff CPS. For example, such a plan should address the following questions. How many vacancies are there currently within CPS? When does the county plan to have all the current vacancies filled by? Considering that the county started with a class of 28, which is now down to 18, how exactly does the county intend to fill these vacancies in a timely manner? Does the county intend to bring caseloads down to the recommendation of 12-1? If not, what caseload ratio is the county using to determine if it has an adequate staff when it says it intends to fully staff CPS? In short, while the county clearly acknowledges that they must hire more workers, the county must provide the public with a plan. This plan must include answers to the questions raised as well, as a timeline of when the county intends to get a 12-1 caseload ratio. I respectfully request that this honorable body not wait till the next strategy before addressing these basic questions, and that they provide a detailed plan to the public on how they intend to address the excessive caseloads at Child Protective Services. Thank you.
This concludes the public forum.
We will now proceed with consideration of motions, resolutions, and notices. Will the clerk please read the next item on the agenda?
Item number 1, referral 16-0371.
Moved by legislator Michkay, seconded by legislator Hebert. This is to adopt. Legislator Conley.
I rise to declare my interest.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Legislator Harris.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to declare my interest. I am a paramedic. I work under this system. Just want to declare that.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? There being none, Legislator Flagler Mitchell. Thank you.
I'm a firefighter for the city of Rochester, so I just want to declare that as well.
We can go around the room, but is there any other discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 2, referral 16-0372.
Moved by legislator Michkay, seconded by legislator Hebert. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 3, referral 16-0373.
Moved by legislator Zale, seconded by legislator Michkay. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral number 4, item number 4, referral 16-0374.
Moved by legislator Taylor, seconded by legislator Hebert. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 5, referral 16-0375.
Moved by legislator Boyce, seconded by legislator Hebert. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 6, referral 16-0376.
Moved by legislator Hebert, seconded by legislator Marionetti. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 7, referral 17-0001.
Moved by legislator DeFlorio, seconded by legislator Boyce. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? Legislator Baroth.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just have a couple questions. My first would be is why is this a matter of urgency?
Legislator Baroth, I deemed it a matter of urgency. I sit on this committee, and there have been, I believe there's a total of 6 vacancies on this board, not all of which are the responsibility of this body. But I felt it was important, given that there is a meeting coming up over the next few weeks, and they have important business for the year, and there wasn't, in my opinion, adequate representation. So I felt it was important to appoint.
Thank you. As a follow-up question, Mr. President, you said there were 6 vacancies on the board. How many positions are there on the board in total?
I would have to get back to you with an exact answer, but it's, I believe it's around 20.
Okay, and thank you. Finally, to Mr. President, I'm assuming that since there were 6 vacancies, no one's actually being replaced. No one left in the last month or so for these 3 positions, or are they replacing 3 individuals or not?
That's correct. These are replacing empty seats.
Empty seats. Okay, thank you very much.
Any other discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. There being no unfinished business, Legislator Marionetti.
Thank you, Mr. President. We stand adjourned until 6 p.m. Tuesday, February 14th, 2017.
Thank you.